So, we're not going to talk about the latest, flashiest AI models today. Nope. Instead, we're going to dig into a really critical pattern, a question a lot of people are asking. Why are so many organizations pouring money into AI, but struggling to see any real, consistent value from it? Let's get into it. It's a weird paradox, isn't it? I mean, investment in AI has literally never been higher. The capabilities are exploding, and yet behind closed doors, a lot of companies are frustrated. Projects are stalling out, adoption hits a wall, and that big transformation that was promised, it just never seems to show up. So what is going on here? What's the disconnect? Well, for many, the answer lies in a concept called the AI illusion, and we're going to break down exactly what that means. At its core, the AI illusion is the belief that just by adding AI to something, a process, a workflow, whatever, you'll automatically get a better result. And you can see why people think this, right? AI is so fast, it's so fluent, it feels incredibly powerful. It just seems like progress should be a given. But that's exactly where the illusion creeps in. See, the illusion is that AI is a fix, but the reality is that AI is an amplifier. It takes whatever you already have, your thinking, your data, your culture, and it just magnifies it for better and definitely for worse. Think about it this way. If your processes are sharp and your data is clean, AI is going to be a huge help. But if your processes are a mess or your data is garbage, AI just makes those problems bigger, faster, and way, way harder to ignore. It doesn't show up as a neutral party. It just cranks up the volume on whatever foundation you give it. And that leads us straight into the first major problem this illusion creates. It's something called the amplification trap. This is exactly what happens when you point AI at fuzzy processes, shaky data, or when nobody's really sure who owns the outcome. Instead of creating value, you start scaling up all the bad stuff, the errors, the risk, the noise. It doesn't fix the underlying issues, it just puts them on steroids.
This quote on the screen just says it all perfectly. AI doesn't create problems, it puts them on fast forward. A good process gets stronger, sure, but a broken one, it just fails bigger and a whole lot faster.
So we have to stop seeing AI as some kind of fix and start seeing it for what it truly is, a scaler. It accelerates our decisions, it multiplies our output, it scales the behaviors of our teams, and it amplifies the designs of our systems. Getting this mental shift right is absolutely crucial. Okay. But it's not just about the technology. There's a really subtle human dynamic at play here too. Once AI is part of our daily work, we have to talk about our response to it. And that brings us to the second big idea, the confidence paradox. This is where things get really fascinating. As these AI tools get faster and as they get more articulate and fluent, we humans have a tendency to trust them more, but not necessarily better. Their speed and their polish create this sense of authority that can just steamroll our own critical judgment.
This paradox shows up in three key tensions. First, you've got speed versus judgment. The AI is so fast we feel rushed to approve its output. Then there's fluency versus accuracy. An answer that's well-written and sounds smart just feels correct, even if it's dead wrong. And finally, confidence versus correctness. An AI can state something with 100% certainty, even if the underlying data is a total mess.
And that's why this next point is so important. The most dangerous outputs from an AI aren't the ones that are obviously hilariously wrong. No, the dangerous ones are the ones that are convincing. They sound just right enough to slip past our defenses, and that's where the real risks start to pile up. So, what happens when you smash the amplification trap and the confidence paradox together? Well, you start to see these classic symptoms pop up everywhere. You get automation with nobody actually accountable for the outcome. You get massive amounts of data being used, but no one's checked if that data is even fit for the job. And you get this mad rush to adopt more and more tools without any real strategy behind it. So if the tech isn't the problem, what's the solution? Well, this is where we need to shift the entire conversation. We need to start focusing on something called the gravity of decisions. Think of decision gravity as the invisible force that determines whether an AI's output actually gets used to make a real-world decision, or if it just dies on a dashboard somewhere completely ignored. It's the pull that connects an insight to an action. And you can feel the difference. You know it when you see it. Strong gravity means there's a clear owner for the decision. The AI's insight shows up at just the right moment, and someone is accountable for the outcome. Weak gravity? That looks like dashboards nobody acts on, recommendations that nobody owns, and insights that arrive way too late to matter. And this brings us to maybe the single most important point of this entire conversation. AI value follows decision gravity, not model accuracy. You can have the most accurate, most sophisticated model in the world, but if its outputs don't actually influence a meaningful decision, its business value is zero. It's that simple.
Okay, so how do we build that decision gravity? How do we actually escape the illusion? Let's chart a path forward.
It really boils down to making 3 durable shifts in your strategy. First, you've got to shift your focus from automating simple tasks to improving complex decisions. Second, stop obsessing over AI outputs and start tracking real business outcomes. And finally, stop just buying tools and start designing new operating models, new ways of working where humans and AI collaborate with total clarity and accountability.
And look, if you want a really simple, powerful gut check for where your organization is right now, just ask this one question. If we turned all of our AI off tomorrow, would our decisions actually get worse or would they just get slower? If the honest answer is just slower, then you're probably still caught in the illusion, using AI as a speed boost instead of a tool for better judgment.
Because in the end, the organizations that really win with AI, the ones that get sustainable, game-changing value, don't just use more of it. They use it more intentionally. They sidestep the traps, they manage the paradoxes, and they design everything around making better, smarter, more impactful decisions. That is the real difference maker.